How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be more of a public service announcement. And what is that public service announcement? Know your diecast, know your Hot Wheels. If not, you could be paying too much. So let's get to it. Now, if you're like me and you're into Hot Wheels and all that stuff, you've been on eBay and Facebook and OfferUp and all those places, and you see the cars, right? You see them, and you also see the prices. Well, if you look at this car, it's $25. It says it's a 1968. And with this car, it says it's a 1974. Let's take a closer look really quick. Here's the 1974. Let's look at the base. There's the base to it, right? One hole in the middle, and that's it, and two rivets. Now let's go back to the one that says it's a 1968. Notice the similarity? One hole in the middle, two pop rivets, and that's it. Now let's go back and take a look at another one. Let's take a look at this blue one, just below it. Well, that's not really a good one. You can't see a good angle shot of it. Let's try this one. Yep. Now this one, as you can see, it has 4 holes and 2 pop rivets. This is an older model. This is probably a 69 model. And the reason I say that is I'm assuming the wheels are regular or original. In 1970, they started going away from the red lines and started switching over to the black walls. So middle ways through the year, it could be the same year but have different wheels on it. And if you look closely right here, see that white? That's what's called a bearing. And that's what makes these wheels so popular back then. That's what made them ride so good. So let's take a look at something else. Now, I happen to know what that car is right there. I happen to know that because I have one that I'm going to be restoring. See, same color and everything. Mine's a 1974. That one's a 1974. Just like that one is, because that's when they offered those color schemes. It's called the flying colors. So, knowing a little bit about what you're looking at, will help you not overpay. Now, the green is going so high because the green is a pretty rare color. For the flying colors, it was hard to find. The yellow, not so much. But if you look at these others, they're Spectra Flame colored and all that stuff. Well, if you get a Spectra Flame colored paint job with that base on it, then you know that that's not a 1968 or a 1969 or even a 70. But they're asking 68, 69, and 70 prices for it. If you go to websites like the Redline Shop, or even if you do a Google search for Hot Wheels collectors, there's a website that'll come up, tells you all this. But they sell new wheels. But when you go to dual cars and you're restoring, it's important to know what type of wheels you need. Some cars have all small wheels, some cars have small and medium, some have medium and large. So if you look, 1968, there were 16 cars. And it tells you exactly what type of axles it had. This has the bearings, which is that white part that I showed you just a minute ago. Let me see. Which is this. That's the bearing. That's the axle. That's the bearing. If you look at today's cars, you can see the axle goes straight through. This is an early model. It's got the torsion suspension in it. In other words, it's got some give to it each wheel. So if you push down on one corner, that wheel will have some give to it. But if you look real close, you can see small and medium. Over here you got medium and large. But that's a dead giveaway as far as how to tell the model of the year of the car that you have. 1969. Bearings, all of them had bearings. So only 68 and 69 had the bearings. 1970, like I told you a minute ago, it started changing. Caps, bearings, caps, bearings, caps, bearings. 1971, switching to mostly caps, right? Matter of fact, all of them are listed as caps. 71 to 74, you have a few caps, right? But it tells you exactly which ones have the caps. Now what a cap looks like is this. Get the picture up real quick. This is the cap. The axle will go through it and go over to the other wheel, and it'll be pinched on that side too. You'll have one on each side, and then the cap is just like what it sounds like. The outside wheel is a cap that pushes onto the hub part. Okay, that's the difference there. And I showed you the bearings just a second ago. There's the bearings. The bearing wheels, let me get back. The bearing wheels look like this. See how it's got the large hole in the center? This is the front of the wheel, this is the back of the wheel. That's small, that's medium, that's large, or better known as deep dish. You can see how it is sunken down in there. But this is the front. This is what side you see. This is the actual back side of it. That is where this white piece goes. Okay? That's where that white piece goes. This is known as a bearing wheel. Well, then you have ones that are like the 1974 model that I showed you. This one, right? This is known as just plain axles. That's all it's got. It doesn't have any bearings or anything. All it has is an axle. Let me find one and show you. Now if you look, right, on today's modern Hot Wheels, that's what you get. See that hole right in the middle of the wheel? Right? That's for an axle to go through. And it's pinched on one end. It goes through over to the other side, and you have another wheel over there with it pinched. Which is exactly what mine is. See that hole right there? There's an axle that goes through. There's that one right there I was telling you about. You see it coming out over to right there. See, there's no bearing, there's no nothing. It actually comes out that hole right there. You can see the axle. There's no bearing, there's no caps, there's no anything. But what really gets me is people find these cars, or even have them, and think that they'll look and just see a picture like this one and say, oh, that's my car, it's just painted different. Well, that says it's a 1968 model or a 1969 model. And they'll list it as such. And then, you know, people will get caught up in the bidding and everything and think that they're actually getting a 1968 or a 1969 model. See, right there is that bearing I was telling you about. Now, some people do it unintentionally because, you know, like I said, they'll find them at a yard sale, or they'll find them in a flea market, or I had some as a kid, and, you know, they just think they've got, because if you look at these prices, you know, there's a 1969 Hong Kong. Well, let's look at it and see. Let's find the base. It's definitely could be a 1969, because around the middle of 69, they did away with the torsion suspension and started going to a straight axle with the bearings, like I showed you a second ago, like this. So around middle of 69, early 70, they got away from this design because it was just too much trouble to make it, and, you know, cost versus profit and all that stuff. Because think about it, these cars were made and started in 1968, and they're still $1. So, you know, you got to cut costs somewhere. But if you look at it, it'll say right there 1969, which it could be a 69 made later half of the year, which would make it a 1970 model. But it says Hong Kong. Hong Kong used different types of wheels altogether, different sizes. Their wheels were just a little bit different size. So that's why it's important. If you got caps or you got bearings, it's important to know that you have a Hong Kong version or American version. That way you can get the right If it's a cap, you can get the right diameter, or if it's a bearing, you can get the ones that fit on the right size bearing, because the holes on where the wheels go will be different sizes. But it just, you know, be careful, watch what you're bidding on, watch what you're buying, because I've seen some on here that just blows the mind. I mean, it's all chromed out, looks like brand new, and then you look at the wheels and it's like, what? So like this one says $100. All it says is Hot Wheels Red Lines Heavy Chevy. Let's look at it and see. Now if it was a 69 model, sure, I could see $100, but this decal pattern is the Flying Colors decal. So that means it's going to be a 1974 model. See what they say. See, they don't even put a year, so now it's left up to you, but they've seen how much these cars are going for, so they just assume I can get 100 for mine. I'm going to throw it on there and get $100 for it. When actually you should be able to get this car for, and see, there's the axle going straight through. Definitely tells you it's a 1974. Could be a 73, but regardless, it's not a 1969. It's not a $100 car in that condition. You should be able to get that car from anywhere from 20 to 32-ish bucks, depending on how the rest of it looks. So let's look at it. Other side's about the same. So that's where somebody would play with it and put their fingers on it like that. So that's doesn't look bad. Beat up on the top a little bit. So with that being chrome, you'd never be able to re-chrome that car or fix that. And see, there's that base. That's a Hong Kong. So that is not a $100 car, folks. I'm sorry. Now restored, sure, 100, 140, whatever you're willing to pay for it. But right now, that is not a $100 car. That's a $25 to $30 car all day long. But the point of this video, I just wanted you to understand when you're looking for a project car, or you're looking for something to collect, you know, you're new to the diecast world or whatever. So there's another $175. They're advertising it as a 1969 Hong Kong base. Rare, hard to find. So let's look at it. Again, that is not a 1969 car. That is a 1974 car. The decals, or what they call, and see, that one beat all the crap on the back. The casting lines and the bumper and everything's just rough. And see, there's the axle wheels, like I was telling you. It's very important to know the difference, because you will overpay big time if you're not careful. But I just wanted to put this video out. Let me see if this one shows it up close. Here's one for $385. Now see, this looks like an axle wheel, but it's not. See, that's actually not an axle wheel. Let's look at the base of it. See, that's got the torsion suspension with the bearings. You can see the white part. Now that's a bit pricey. Let's see what they say. Oh, Hot Wheels Red Lines, Heavy Chevy, white interior, all original. Yeah, for that car to be all original, that means that car has not been played with. And I don't like the way the decals, or tampos is what they're called, I don't like the way that is sticking up at all. But buyer beware is all I can say. Buyer beware. But it is an older car. It's definitely a 69 or 70. But you just have to be careful is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm sorry I'm rambling and stuff, but just trying to get the point across. Be careful. Use a site that you can trust. Like I said, the Redline Shop and Bright Vision both have wheel selectors to where you can look and pick the wheels, the correct wheels. It'll tell you what style you're supposed to have. Now if you get one and it's different than that, then probably it's the wrong year, or somebody has taken it apart and swapped out the wheels. But the Redline Shop, Very good source. You can get paint and all kind of stuff from there. And they don't sponsor the video or anything. I'm just letting you know of a great resource. But this is, you know, I'm just trying to make you understand. If you got a straight axle with a hole in the end of it and they're advertising in 1968, 1969, run the other way. Either that or politely explain to them that it's not a 1968 or a 1969, that it's an actual later model than that. And if they're not wanting to deal with you or anything, then by all means, let it go. Find one that is the correct year. But I hope this video helps. I hope it gets you to understand a little bit what's going on. Because see, like I say, you can swap wheels easily. I mean, look at those. But until next time, I hope the video helped you out. Might steer you away from potential bad buyers and hopefully save you some money. Until next video, take care and we'll see you. Thanks for watching.